To order the Westford Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. This meeting is being broadcast live by Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. By participating in this meeting, you're consenting to your audio and likeness being used for this purpose. So starting with our 7 p.m. agenda item, do any members of the commission have something for open forum? No?
Nope.
Okay, I do. There are 3 members of the Conservation Commission whose terms expire June 30th. Last September, the Select Board implemented a formal reappointment process for boards, committees, and commissions for which it's the appointing authority. These boards, committees, and commissions should consider any applicant who submitted a volunteer activity form in the prior 2 years, as well as any existing commission members who want to be reappointed when we make our decision who we will request the select board to consider appointing for terms that will begin July 1st. If residents are interested in serving on the Conservation Commission, you should complete the volunteer activity form available on the town's website. Beginning in April, the Conservation Commission will reach out to residents who have submitted a volunteer activity form since March 2024 to confirm if they are still interested in serving on the commission. The commission will interview applicants at its public meetings on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays in May with the intention of sending requests for consideration of appointment letters to the select board the first week in June. So if anybody has questions about that process, you can look, I believe there's information on the town website that goes over what I have said, but I just want to make sure that people who are here to attend the meeting, if you're interested and would like to be considered, that's how you go about doing it. So, Matt, do you have anything?
Just one. The Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs today released a press release that drought conditions improved from level 2 significant drought to level 1 mild drought effective March 1st. So
That's better.
Moving out of drought status.
I remembered one other thing. Commission member Ann Jeffries is dialed into the meeting on a phone, so all votes will be via roll call.
Okay.
Okay. Do any members of the audience have something for open forum? No? Okay, then we will proceed to our next 7 p.m. agenda item, which is an appointment with Raul Ram. If you'd like to come and.
Sure. Would it be okay if I could put, oh, you have it?
Yeah.
So first off, I go to Westford. Should I be looking towards you, or is there anything?
Oh, you can sit
Yeah, sit.
and
Have a seat.
get comfortable.
So I go to Westford Academy, and right now I'm a freshman. So I brought this to life, the prototype right here. And basically, what it's trying to do is it's like a low cost. It's a pretty affordable, around $25 to $30, and it's a system where we can indicate waterborne pathogens in our town for the lakes and ponds. So starting off, I just want to talk about the problem. Most of the lakes and the ponds across the country and here are not being tested regularly, and I feel like that's a big issue, as when the testing does occur, it takes time to happen from days to weeks, and often many of the community members are unaware of how many people are falling sick before the testing actually does occur, and I believe this is completely preventable. And what my advice is, it's trying to be affordable and prevent as many people from falling sick in the towns as possible. So I just want to start off, in the last 3 to 5 years, we've had various different warnings and caution messages between here and towns surrounding us due to E. coli and bacteria such as those, and these have affected specifically Hart Pond and Nabnasset Pond, and this has caused them to have to be treated, and it's a hassle. So moving on to the next slide, I just talk about this like branching out globally. Over 3 billion people are at risk due to all the data not being given to the public, and sometimes the tests aren't released, and many people fall sick before the tests do occur, and awareness needs to be given to the public. So what my solution is, again, Lakert, it has 3 sensors, a turbidity sensor and a temperature sensor. And these 2 sensors are key indicators, turbidity and sensor, of the presence of the possible presence of E. coli or other pathogens, as many of them thrive in growing above 60 degrees Fahrenheit, or NTU, which is the measurement of turbidity, above 15. And when it comes to the color sensor is normally a false positive indicator, making sure that doesn't happen. And it's solar powered, and it has continuous monitoring, letting it be monitored as many times as you want in an hour. And it gives an alert system with either LoRa or Bluetooth that allows a traffic light system. I'll talk about that in the next slide. So if you see here, it'll be on the shore, where there'll be a green light, yellow light, and red light, depending on the safeness of the water. So I was just requesting permission for Burgess Pond, if I could test this out there as my first iteration, and then from there use that data to improvise and make it better. So it's set up using this system that looks for the signs of contamination, being an indicator, not a direct detector. And there are on the market out there that are detectors, but these detectors are around $1,000 plus, meaning it's much more expensive than something that's simple and can be implemented in small towns and areas that are underprivileged. So it uses the sensor's data from an Arduino IDE, and from there, using the microcontroller, it can process that. So just reiterating, the design quickly just goes through sensors, a microcontroller gives the alerts, and then it's powered by solar power. So the goal is the impact, and that is that the children and the elderly specifically, as they're more prone to the different pathogens and microbial contaminants, can be more safe along with everybody else in the town. And that it acts as an early warning system, so that maybe either on the website of the town or somewhere else, we can give a first iteration and being hey, there may be a contaminant in the water, which not only helps out the people from falling sick, but helps the environment, as these testings can occur before it gets out of hand, meaning it can be controlled quicker, and just overall would prevent illness in people from getting hurt. So when it comes to scalability, currently it's around $25 to $30. With what's going on, I don't know if it's going to slightly increase, but it's still much more affordable than what is out there on the market today. And I would say it's easy to replicate due to everything being locally sourced, with this iteration having soldered together. It has to be modified where it can be replicated, but this is the prototype. Before I go on to the next, I just want to talk about flaws I'm having right now, where the sensors right now aren't cased, or debris could pass through this and a leaf could get stuck. So what I'm trying to do to that is I'm going to put a mesh casing around it, so that large debris do not affect the quality of the results of the data. So moving on to the reliability, how I plan to make it reliable is, with the testing we have done in Westford, use that as a basis to improve the accuracy of the device. And not only that, but by taking my own investments from competitions I'm planning to enroll in, get that funding to conduct research with complete detectors and use that data to back up these indicators, making their data more reliable. Lastly, I would just like to show some visuals along with this. It's just more images of the device as a whole, and my slogan is that every community deserves safe water, and that's kind of it. So thank you so much. So once again, just reiterating my conclusion, I would love to test this out at Burgess Pond and use that data to help our town out. Thank you.
I
Marilyn?
think it's a wonderful idea. I have a few questions. How would you control that, that what you have out there to record this information for you doesn't get destroyed or hurt by anybody? How do you protect, where are you putting them?
So currently it's going to be on like a Google Sheets, like transferred from the Arduino IDE.
This is
But
more
when
than
it-
I understand. Go ahead.
But like when it comes to protecting the data,
Well, not so
No,
much
no, I
protecting.
mean the
how-
physical.
I think she's
No, no,
worried
I
about it
meant the
being
physical.
vandalized when it's out collecting data.
Yeah.
I was planning to
So
put up signs, like would that be okay? Like,
It would be fine, I don't know if it's enough.
I mean, I had the same thought.
Yeah.
I mean, would
again,
somebody come and
when-
just vandalize it?
Or
Just how do you-
an otter or a beaver decides it
again,
doesn't
Yeah.
like it.
Rahul
I would think
originally-
it's similar to like a buoy, maybe like enlarge
Make
it
it
to
more
make it more
camera-like
visible.
instead of like,
Originally, when the request came in, he wanted to test it either at Forge Beach or Nab Beach, and based upon the high recreational pressures and just wave action for both water bodies, and also not having kind of one sole entity having care and custody of it, I thought Burgess was an ideal location. Again, you're not facing the same
quantity.
yeah, the same, but also you can put up, for lack of a better idea, a yard sale, a yard sale sign, 2 feet by 3 feet.
To explain.
Right, at the access point, so people aren't primarily calling me asking what's the red buoy that's floating out. And again, people go to the Stony Brook Conservation Area to appreciate and enjoy nature. And I think it's a great mechanism to kind of advertise the kind of the development of this prototype to and lead people to kind of the
Like give a quick explanation on the sign.
Oh,
and what
definitely,
this-
but I was more worried about the protection of.
Yeah,
what
I
you're
mean,
putting
again,
up.
I
Or
don't-
somebody thinking they
No,
need to pick
because-
up litter.
Well,
Well, I
whatever,
mean,
but
if-
if it was up in a tree, I wouldn't worry that someone's gonna be climbing it for the number, but if it's low down, I would worry about,
Yeah, again,
how
I
to protect
don't.
it. So
I
a sign
think that's something that we
wouldn't
can
hurt.
try and figure out. Again, I don't know how deep of water you're looking to put it in, kind of, I mean, again, we could maybe try and locate it underneath when the docks get installed,
that
can
would
be
be-
kind of suspended
that
underneath
would
it, so again,
hide
people
it,
aren't,
yeah.
it's
At
kind of.
least to try it that first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or something to that effect, but, your
I mean,
your
I support
points-
this, I just worry about, that people would,
Mhm.
I agree with the dock idea,
Yeah.
but that would just have
that
to
would be a good
monitored.
place to start, and then depending on the data you get, you can see if that's sufficient.
Jim?
What evidence do you have of the correlation between the turbidity, temperature, and E. coli?
So currently, for part of a school assignment, we are doing a testing using like an experiment. We have to create an experiment, and for that experiment, I'm kind of basing it off of this idea. And for turbidity specifically, based on what previous research has been done, it states that the higher the turbidity, the less amount of oxygen is provided into the water because there's like less photosynthesis happening, and because of that, many of the pathogens, since they are able to function without like oxygen, limited oxygen is fine for them. They are able to thrive more than like animals where like plants and animals that are underneath the water where they need that water to survive, like need the oxygen from the water.
Have you been able to test it anywhere in a lab or whatever against coliform colonies? So, here's a positive sample. What does your machine detect? What does it say? Here's a negative sample with clean water. Does it say anything? Here's a sample with sand mixed in with it, so it increases the turbidity but doesn't change the temperature. What does your machine say then? Have you done any kind of lab testing?
So currently the testing that we're gonna do is between a swamp, a lake, and like a clean lake, a dirty lake, tap water, distilled water, and the swamp. And based on that, after that, we're also gonna put in like a pathogen, like some kind of where it has to be positive, where it actually has to detect that condition. And based on those, use that data to strengthen the reliability of this.
You haven't done that testing?
I'm planning on doing that testing at Burgess Pond and like other
So
swamps.
Burgess Pond is is a location for one of your tests?
Yes.
Which one? Which one? Yeah.
So when he was
I'm
talking
hoping
about.
the Clean Lake.
So when, yeah, so I think it's.
Board of Health test the
Testing
water
for.
every week. The data is published online. It would be good to be able to compare whatever data your machine comes up with on the same day and date, and the same date and rough same time as the town's sampling. Then at least you have some idea of what's there.
Jim, that was one of my other reasons for, selecting Burgess Pond is because, from Memorial through Labor Day, we have continuous, and it's,
There's a positive sample test that you can come back and test again. So if you stay in touch closely with the Board of Health,
Sure.
probably meet them there on the days where they actually take their samples, and you can see what part of the lake they actually take the.
I mean, it's right, I mean, I think they go in up to their shins and right at the beach, so, yeah.
That'd be a good place for his device on the day when they're tested.
No,
At least have something to compare to.
So speaking of the Board of Health, have you talked to the Board of Health about this?
No, not currently.
I think it would be a good reference point to it.
Yeah, I mean, I had the thought of, again, kind of linking the data he's collecting with the Board of Health's, weekly
Probably
beach
also
testing.
find out what the testing labs does, what kind of testing they do to determine the E. coli content.
you mean what testing protocols they use?
Yes, 'cause I'm sure it's not
Well,
turbidity and temperature.
No, but
They're testing for coliform.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's testing for too, but not directly.
No, he's just doing early warning signs. He's using
Right,
those
right, Not
to,
directly, something
Right.
something with a correlation, but I don't know
Exactly.
how good the correlation is.
Right, I mean, that's the.
no, it's just like giving key examples like cyanobacteria or E. coli or like what has happened in these towns around us. So like temperature or turbidity sensors that are not only affordable, can help detect like those types of pathogens that are in the water specifically.
Do you know the cost of this for yourself?
Since this is around, like by buying it in bulk, it will be around $30 to $60. But since this is like original, I would say this is probably around like 70 plus. But
How many do you need?
Huh?
And how many do you need?
Well, I mean, I think he's testing it out now.
Oh,
mean,
I see.
If he wants to scale up,
Yeah.
I'm certainly, I'm interested, again, the commission has 3 beaches at, East Boston camps alone that,
For just like small scale, I think at max I'll have 3 to 5. But then from there, I'll need additional funding. But starting just this year, I think I'm just going to use the whatever investments I have.
So with the readings it takes, are you getting will it give you a quantified number or just red, yellow,
Quantified.
green? Okay, so you'll actually get a numerical value.
Wait, could you scroll up quickly? I think I have an example of like a code snippet.
Example of what?
Code
Code.
snippet.
Code snippet.
Scroll up. I don't think it's. Oh, I think I removed it.
Okay.
But it basically just says like in Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin, and then for NTU it gives that number, and then for color sensor it'll just give how much red, how much green, how much blue.
Okay. Yeah, I was just interested in the data you were collecting. Okay.
Very interesting.
Jim?
When do you want like to do this and how long?
I'm planning to start in like the next 1 to 2 weeks, and the goal is to end it like maybe
We
like
don't
2.
collect the town date, I don't think till Memorial Day, right?
But early he'll be able to check in how well
Yeah,
it works with
first
water
see if it
temperature and
works.
stuff.
Because I have to
Right,
test
it
them.
says, yes, you have coliform, do we or don't we? We don't know. Or no, we don't, I
Well,
can't
that's-
tell. There's nothing really to compare it to. But if you talk with the Board of Health, you find out exactly when they start doing their
I mean,
testing.
and that's certainly something we've typically done, had testing done from Memorial through Labor Day.
Yeah, exactly.
But if we want to, to kind of align with the project, I can certainly ask the Board of Health to kind of start if we, I mean, maybe the beginning of May, as opposed to the end of May, sometime, So that's in 3 weeks.
And this is all fully remote, right? You have a transmitter on there, sends the RS, and then loads to a website somewhere?
Probably onto
Google
like a
Sheets.
Google Sheets, and then from there transported onto like a website.
Okay.
Nice.
Any other questions?
Any questions from members of the audience? If you want to come up and tell us who you are and
Hi, I'm Allie. So I'm just curious, how far out will the sensor be and how deep does it collect the water?
I haven't conducted the research as I'll probably just use whatever like previously has been done for how they like how
when the sampling's done?
yeah just how where they do it. I'll put it in the same region.
So just curious because I did this for the town I worked for. I do all of their beach testing, so I know that when I go out to do the water samples, I have to go up to my belly button and then I gotta put my arm all the way down and get like an under the surface sample. So that might be something to keep in mind because I can't tell like where the water would be going through the sensor.
No,
But
it's just like a prototype. If
Yeah.
it's something like as he said where it has to go under the dock, then I would have to just redesign it where it's more fully encased where the water can't get in.
I think it's a great idea, but I definitely think talking with the Board of Health would be really helpful. Sam Fontaine does a lot of the beach testing, so I recommend getting in touch with him about it. But this sounds like a really cool idea, you know? Algae blooms get a lot of people in town questioning water safety, and this could be a really cool project.
Thank
Jim?
I really would strongly recommend you start at the same time that the Board of Health starts with their testing. If you test in April or beginning of May, you have nothing to compare it to. All you have is numbers from your device, and you don't know whether they're good, bad, correlate, or don't. But if you do it at the same time as the laboratory tested water, that would be perfect.
But
And they do it every week from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
would some of your testing, have you immersed it, have you put this out yet into a body of water?
you. No.
Because part of what I'm thinking is if he starts a couple of weeks early, that lets him test it from a functional perspective. Does it stay, does it operate the way he thinks it's going to operate before he starts really trying to measure his results?
I would think like doing it a week to two before the actual, like comparing against the real data would be more helpful because then I could just make sure all of like the components like stay intact and it actually works and transmits signals. Just like making sure everything is like proper before going
Yeah,
directly.
with a bucket in your backyard, you could, whatever, okay, I understand what you're trying to do.
So is this motion to,
Yeah, motion to approve the device testing at, in Burgess Pond.
yep,
For what period?
for
Starting now till when?
through sometime in September? I mean, it just, well, what would you,
Right.
so what are your proposed dates?
I would say in like 2 weeks from now and then 1 week into September would probably be best.
Roughly Labor Day?
Well, or a little bit after if he wants to.
Middle- middle.
April 15th to September
Yeah, make it the
15th.
middle.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Sure.
April 15 to September 15?
Sure.
because it doesn't mean he has to start then or end, go until then, but yeah, it gives us some parameters. So I have a motion?
And is he gonna come back and tell us about it?
I certainly
Yes,
hope
for
so.
Okay, great.
Have a
Motion.
motion. Yes.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel? Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yeah.
No, Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So thank you very much. Moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item. It's a continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for 176 Concord Road.
Good evening, everyone. Matt Morrow Environmental Consulting. Sitting to my right is Allie Walter, who is my client and my co-pilot for the evening. So when we last left off, we requested and were granted continuance by this commission so we could do an alternatives analysis based on configuration of the accessory dwelling unit for the sewer pipe to see if we could get the sewer pipe out of the buffer zone. In looking back at the CAD measurements with both the engineer and the septic designer, what was discovered was that the septic pipe is approximately 9 feet in length. So it goes from 93 feet all the way out to the 100-foot buffer zone for that section of pipe. It is actually one section because your standard sewer pipe section coming out of a septic system is 10 feet. The ADU was cited in a manner that's in a sweet spot in the lot to allow the size and the current configuration to go in where it is because it takes into account structure setbacks and zoning setbacks. The area on the side where the ADU is currently is 15.1 feet for a 15-foot setback.
Do you have a diagram?
I was pulling up the plan previously discussed.
Well, what I've done is I went back to the septic designer. The first question you guys asked me was, how about rotating the kitty corner? See if we could just move that up and leave the structure where it was. So, if I may approach.
Oh, for sure.
So I asked the septic designer, try to move the kitty corner, see what you can do to try to keep it. How you would have to put in a pipe, make sure it was in the correct spot coming out of the basement or the 4-foot frost wall, or however it needed to come out of that unit, so that it would stand, your normal install without having to try to cramp and stuff it around without keeping it in the buffer zone. So what winds up happening is when you do the kitty corner, while we can still meet the setback for the pool, it winds up violating the property setback and goes to 14.06 feet. So it's hard to meet the setback there. Moving it up, you violate the setback from the pool. Taking it and trying to mirror image it and put it in the front yard would violate the off-road setback and the setback from the house. The septic system that is there now actually would be an environmental benefit as far as how the commission has viewed environmental benefit in the past under your bylaw, because number one, the existing system is in the same spot. Number two, this new system would be able to accommodate both structures and would be Title V compliant. It was discovered in the phase of planning for this ADU that the actual system that was in place was non-compliant with Title V. It's in Title V failure. That actually was unknown until Ally and Ben decided to pursue this. Ally, being a septic professional herself, when I was talking to her about it, she said, yeah, we didn't even know the system was in failure until we had the testing done. So those are the basics of what we looked at. And what I asked Mr. Carloni, the designer, was just take into account that the 100-foot radius offset doesn't exist. So he's telling me that that really has nothing to do with the design. He's trying to leave it where it is as much as possible because those are 76-foot trenches. So he's trying to keep the dynamic coming out of the house as close to what was there as possible. This despite the fact that if you look behind the driveway, you'll see a dotted line in a box that says 13. That's the existing electrical system, wire, service that's going to have to be located, because that may even need to be tucked up a little bit. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. It's not a simple plop an EDU in place and, plop in a new septic system and that's it. I'd further point out that in the spirit of your bylaw, we would do the sleeving as required by the Board of Health. The sleeving is a Schedule 40 pipe. And Schedule 40 pipe is made so that if you drove on top of the thing, it would not crack. Mr. Carloni's been looking at alarming systems. What we would look for is an alarming system that if we had a backflow or something that was starting as a result of a flood from an obstruction, it would trigger an alarm. We looked at maybe doing something with a sensor in the pipe, but what we determined was that in the ground, if you wind up having condensation that forms in there, it's going to keep tripping the sensor. So he consulted with other installers and other designers, and the link that I had sent to the commission was what they recommended. That's it, in a nutshell. We did look over the proposed order of conditions seems pretty standard. So, I mean, they've agreed to do the Schedule 40 sleeving like the Board of Health required and do the alarming.
Any questions?
No.
So it's sleeved, Schedule 40, and then there's the alarm in a sleeve?
The alarm,
Where is I'm trying to figure out where the alarm is.
the alarm would be actually in the
Hey,
unit. The alarm enunciated would be in the unit.
Do you want to use the laser?
Yeah, please. Can you pull the,
Pull up the-
Get the alarm is in the building, but the probe, where is that probe? Is it outside the Schedule 40 PVC in another sleeve? So if there's some sort of rupture of that Schedule 40, that probe is in some sort of sleeve that detects the leak?
yeah, the probe would be right at the outlet portion of it. So what would happen was if there was a leak and there was a change as far as flow goes, backflow, anything like that, blockages, it would automatically trip the enunciator.
Just trying to figure out if there's any, are we talking about anything more than just a piece of Schedule 40 pipe?
Well, I was thinking about this, because in theory, so you'll have.
Because,
the-
well,
you'll
just,
have- you'll have-
I
you'll
know
have-
what you're saying, but right now, the way proposed, are we just talking a piece of Schedule 40 pipe? I believe so, because I'm not hearing that Schedule 40 pipe is inside of a sleeve that a probe sits in.
No, so
that
it's-
detects if that Schedule 40 sleeve or that Schedule 40 is somehow compromised and there's a leak.
So the septic line is sleeved inside of that Schedule 40.
Schedule
The
40 is the
sleeve is
sleeve.
inside of the Schedule 40.
That's correct.
Okay, so there's a line, and then I have Schedule 40, and that's the exterior piece.
Yeah.
And within the Schedule 40 is the sleeve, there's the pipe, and in between the two, there's a probe.
Well, I think the probe is located at the out of the tank itself. And this was, and so I had, and I worked through thinking about this again. So if if the septic line leaving the ADU to the tank is at a specific pitch, the sleeve would be at a similar pitch. So in the event there's a leak, the actual septic line is compromised, that's going to be pitched from the ADU to the tank, which is outside the 100-foot buffer.
Right, it's a gravity flow.
And so it's not, I mean, putting a sensor in the sleeve, again, just between the false positives of, condensation, but also, anything that's, in the event there is a leak and it's now making its way out of the buffer. It wouldn't be, you wouldn't have the septic line pitched, say positively to the tank and the sleeve pitched negative versus that.
So what you're telling me is, out of that, his tank there, and it's heading towards his leaching field, it's just gonna be Schedule 40, period, not encased in anything. Or there's the line inside of that Schedule 40.
So from the ADU to the tank
Yeah.
is proposed to be sleeved. From the tank to the leaching fields
It's outside the buffer.
is outside the buffer and is, general, and
Yeah, I
is
see.
standard Title V construction.
And what you'll have is a Schedule 40 PVC pipe over the actual sewer main. Schedule 40 pipe is basically in the ground, is gonna last forever, and it's rated so that you can drive over it. Not that anyone's gonna be driving over that line with any degree of frequency. The other thing I would point out is that the particular sensor would actually start to trigger if the line started to fill up with water. So if you have a leak, that sleeve is gonna start filling up with effluent. or no, actually it'd be influent in this case. It would fill up with influent, and it would trigger the sensor to let them know, the enunciator panel inside, that something was off. But the sleeve would contain it.
So the pipe that's running from the ADU to the tank,
Mhm.
it's in a sleeve for the entire length?
The entire length.
So it's basically a pipe within a sleeve from the time it leaves the ADU to the time it enters the tank?
But when it leaves the tank, it's just in,
Right, but at that
not a
point.
sleeve.
But
But
at that point,
it's nearly
It's outside-
like
it's outside the
98 feet
buffer.
out. Well, it's not outside the buffer, but it's pretty
the
close.
tank
to
is
the
outside,
limit.
well,
No, to the tank is outside the buffer zone, but that'll be sleeve, because it doesn't make sense to try to divide that. It'll wind up being one piece. It'll wind up being all one piece of pipe, one piece of pipe, one piece of sleeve, goes from the ADU to the tank. From the tank to the leaching pit will just be standard pipe, but that's out of the buffer zone.
What's the little square pipe?
That's just a note.
Yeah, that's just note 11, that it's a sleeve building sewer.
Oh, okay, it looks just from here, it looks just like a box.
Yeah, a component.
I
it
thought
looks
was
like a
default.
functional
Yeah, yeah,
box.
so did I, and I'm like, I was
When
confusing me.
Mr. Carloni does designs, he likes to do box numbered references and then have a list on the side so that it's easy for you guys to refer to it.
I see the other.
I also would note to the commission that this is an existing grassed area, so there's no vegetation to be removed. It would be buried, it would be constructed, buried, and put back as yard. As noted in the draft order of condition, there's no, like, trees to be removed on this, so.
And Jim, are you satisfied
Yeah.
with the response about the 100-foot radius above that?
That would work with the sleeve.
Okay. Okay.
Matt, do you have any?
I have nothing further.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? So if there are no further questions, have people had an opportunity to review the special conditions? Any comments, questions, or whatever? Can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions?
So moved.
All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All the, Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So thank you very much.
No, thank you. And I want to just close by saying I really appreciate working with us on this. I know you guys take this very, very seriously under your bylaw, and it's not lost on any of us here. So
appreciate it.
just wanted to say we
Thanks for telling
appreciate
us.
that.
Thank you. So moving on to our 7:15 PM agenda item, the continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Premier Homes LLC, 17 and 19 Hartford Road.
Good evening, Mark Slager from Allen Engineering, here on behalf of Premium Homes LLC. I did have an opportunity to review the draft order of conditions. I had a couple of comments that I sent over to Matt last week, and I believe he took care of those comments. Other than that, I don't.
The draft is still, if you want, this is what was sent out, if you can.
Okay.
Just because, again, they haven't seen your comments.
Okay, the
So-
comment was on number 35, said if the work exceeds 1 acre, that I need to apply with NPDS. I had Matt add that it would also require a stormwater management permit under the town of Westford regulations. So I had that included. And then the other one, I believe, was condition 47, regarding the posts and the aluminum signs. The commission has in the past allowed those signs to be affixed to trees that are closely representative of the do not disturb line, rather than install the posts.
And I'm certainly amenable to both, and with specificity to special condition 47. It just, as long as the trees are at the, it's not a tree that's 20 feet behind, it's, the canopy is shown on the plan as, being at the edge of limit of work, but the actual tree is, 20 feet in, but.
Will they realize that that is a limit of work, the tree?
Well, I mean, future home, that's, and so it's one of those. I mean, it can, I think there's some field verification and some field coordination that can certainly occur, for the installation of these, and I'm amenable to kind of working through it.
Well, and I guess I'm, this isn't saying how many or how few, but also, I know I'll go out with the trail crew, and it amazes me how many trees with signs on them that I've seen over the years that have gotten knocked down. So part of me is concerned if we're putting them on trees, and then that tree fails and it's gone, the sign's gone as well. So that's just, when we talk about in perpetuity, trees are not in perpetuity.
No, I got a request from somebody to come and help fix one of those. That was on it. Sheila Brady has one out there. And it's on a tree and just, the tree is grown and it needs repair. But yeah, that happens. So, case in point to what you're saying.
Yeah, so it just, that's where, no, I wouldn't want, I wouldn't want all of them on trees. In the case of where there's one location where it makes more sense to put it on a tree as opposed to put it in a post, yeah, I'm, as the exception rather than the rule, I'm I can make the case for it, but I wouldn't want it to be predominantly on trees.
So what do you recommend?
I can certainly, I don't know, I was gonna go back to this
We can
one,
just,
kind of.
I mean, we don't need to make a big deal of it. I just thought since it has been allowed in the past, if it's something that the commission would be amenable to, then we could do it. Otherwise, we'll just put the posts in. I don't think there's that many of them anyway.
I think
It's
that
a tree right nearby.
Use markers on trees along one of the conservation trails that,
yeah, I mean, can be reviewed by, or other placement, or other methods to be approved and reviewed and approved by the commission or its agent.
I think, yeah, if the not on a post is with review and approval of the commissioner or its agent, then I'm fine with that. Because then we're looking at what's proposed as opposed to just a general statement.
so what's the outcome? What are we doing?
That in the cases where they want to put it on a tree instead of sinking a post,
That's all, right?
no. In the case where they want to do it, they go to they bring forth the details to the commission or its agent to say, in this location or locations.
So we're not deciding it's going to be, that's going to take a look at.
Right, kind of.
It's when, should the issue occur, or should this occasion arise, it'll be brought to Matt for his review and approval, and if he feels like, no, I think I want the commission to review or approve this, then he would put it on the agenda for us to talk about. So it gets a layer of review before that decision is made.
I think if it gets to that point, we're just gonna put the post in.
There you go.
Okay, yeah,
They last.
I do.
Any other
Any other comments or questions? Any comments or questions from members of the audience on this project? Have people had a chance to review the orders? Any changes, comments? Can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions
As amended.
as amended? Second. All those in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel? Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim? Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:20 PM agenda item, it's continuation of a public hearing for 219 Littleton Road LLC, 219 Littleton Road.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
So this evening, we wanted to understand from the commission if you had any additional comments based on the site walk yesterday, and then just kind of talk through our plans for the next month or so, how we envision the process going and make sure that you're all on board with that. And
Yeah, and then I think the other thing we wanted to kind of just highlight, I don't think we had a chance to kind of really talk about it yesterday afternoon on the site walk, but I know when we met with you guys, whatever that was, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the dog park and the playground. Those have all been flipped. So the dog park now would be the kind of the centerpiece between the double row of trees. So that's the dog. And Eric, you had made a comment about the kind of the depth, if you will, of the playground. That's all been pulled back behind that orange line, which is our 30-foot line there. So we picked those plan changes up based on comments that we heard from you guys last month. But really, other than that, I know Margaret, you had asked about making sure that the tree line showed up really dark, or at least legible. So we have turned that on just obviously to beef up the line weight there to make that a little more legible as well for the group.
So one of the things,
Do we want to record the site visit?
oh yeah, let's record the site visit. So all members of the commission were at the site visit yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Was that only yesterday?
I got that comment for us.
Okay,
We toured the whole property, mostly around the outer edges of it. But in this area over here, there's a very active beaver dam. I don't know exactly, from the walkway where you can see it. And one of the wetland markers ends up in the middle of the beaver pond. So it's clearly not the edge of a marker. I don't know where the edges changed because of the,
I don't think that was it was a blue marker, and I think that was the
It got
mean
left
annual,
over.
the mean annual high water, which,
anyway, the stream is a lot wider there wherever the dam is.
right,
Located
and
about where your cursor is, somewhere in that vicinity.
right, and so that's this line through, again, kind of not knowing specifically exactly where the beaver dam.
I ought to take a look at it and see if we're accurately marked in that area.
Mhm. I mean,
Didn't get real close
What's-
to where we were walking. Eric and I both saw it there. But it's a pretty active beaver site.
is this green line the wetlands?
yes, that's the BBW line.
Yeah, so this is the BVW, which certainly differentiate, there's certainly an area more close to the toe of the slope going down from the parking area. We can certainly,
That was the only real item of interest that I saw in the walk.
Right. I think that because there's such a big grade change between the paved parking area
Yeah.
and that location, and the water level.
It is pretty far down.
Right, so I sort of, I doubt that the BBW line would have changed, just because it's within that slope already.
and I don't think the mean annual high, I wouldn't think that
That was
the mean annual
only
high.
marker I saw in the
Right,
vicinity.
I think that was the bank of Vine Brook, which would be determined by its mean annual high water. I don't think a beaver dam impacting that would change kind of the, bank of kind of the flow through, even though right now it's kind of, ponded and retaining, some water there.
And I guess also if kind of the extent of the riverfront area were to change on the site, it's still already within previously developed area. so I don't think it would change the nature of our
Where people
application.
walking was previously developed at the area down by the riverfront there.
Right, no, Katie's points, so the magenta-ish line is the 100-foot buffer. The teal is the 200. So I think Katie's point is that if, say the edge of the mean annual high water was to, shift 10, 15, 20 feet, this line moving 10, 15, 20 feet,
Wouldn't matter.
it's kind of moot generally. Again, it's,
Is it really going to have much impact on what's happening here?
right.
But you might just want to take a peek for accuracy.
I'll communicate with the wetland
If
scientist
there's something
to
that
try to
needs be
just.
adjusted. I totally hear what you're saying. How would this affect the project? Probably not. But, for having accurate wetlands flags, always good.
Mhm.
And we always like to double check and make sure that they're where we think that they are. Well, no, I thought we got the site visit in between the rain. That was good.
Yeah, good, I got lucky. Snow.
Heard the traffic more than I thought it would.
Say again?
Traffic?
The traffic, yeah.
Well, that's loud, yeah.
It seemed like, these resource areas actually were fairly clean. I thought there'd be more trash and junk in them, and there wasn't.
Which is
So,
nice.
to the extent that, we can keep them clean, and I think that we're trying to do that here. But it was nice to see that when we went out there, it wasn't like, oh, these are trashed, and here we are trying to, take care of these resource areas that are already fairly well degraded. And I was surprised they were in fairly good condition.
Excuse me, Matt, can you slide up a little bit? One of the questions that had occurred to me is in the area where you have the green banked parking spots.
What parking spot?
Green banked, the ones that are designed but are not
Got
going
it,
to.
got it.
Yeah, what is the plan for those when they're initially developed? What will that surface be if it's not gonna be paved designated parking spaces, what will it actually look like?
Yeah, it would be seeded.
So it would actually be grass?
It would be seeded, yeah,
Would it-
for in the non-paved until they needed those spaces, if that ever happened in the future.
Okay, so because of all the would that be the turf or the no-mow seed?
I would think back there, I mean, obviously I'd want to confirm with our clients as
Yeah.
to how, how that could be potentially programmed, if at all. I don't know, but it would, I think it's just a matter of figuring out the right.
Okay, and I'm not really advocating for one versus
Okay.
the other, it's just I like to see it on the plan and know what
Sure.
we're getting.
Yeah.
Okay. The other question that had occurred to me after the presentation last week was there was talk about putting solar panels having the garages be solar panel ready, and especially with the one on the easterly side, because these are going to be, the garages are going to be single story, I was wondering whether having solar panels on the roof is going to be a problem as, if the trees near them are tall or very leafy and they shade the solar panels, are we going to start getting requests to take the trees down because they're interfering with the solar?
And the answer to that is no.
Okay.
And it has to do with the orientation of the sun and how it would hit them, the trees.
So north is pretty much straight up on the plan.
Convenient when that happens.
Yeah, so for the kind of the orientation of those panels, they would pretty much want to face south or west.
Well, okay, they would be fixed, not the kind that rotate with the sun?
Yeah, because right now, the roof that I saw on the perspective that they showed to the planning board, it's actually draining or pitches gently. It's almost flat, but it pitches very shallow.
So it wouldn't be, because there are places where I have seen solar panels that that they're designed so that they're facing east in the morning and then they rotate and they face west at the end of the day, so they maximize their
Yeah, I
solar
don't know
absorption.
that these are that
Okay.
sophisticated.
On something that's tilted though, isn't it?
Okay, well,
I
yeah,
can see
okay,
that
so-
happening on a flat surface.
okay, so these are gonna be fixed position and will be designed for maximum, okay.
Yeah, and most of that, in all cases, I think, Margaret, would be basically, with the trees would be a backdrop, but they'd be really
Okay.
facing the opposite direction.
Just now's the time. to
No,
ask
it's,
these
those are all good questions. Make sure we're all on the same page, absolutely.
Okay. Any other people have questions? Or any questions from other people? Any questions from members of the audience?
I have nothing additional. Where are you guys presently with the planning board?
So where we are right now is we have received 3 peer review letters for architecture, engineering, and traffic. We are we will be responding to those with a coordinated set of plans, hopefully by the end of this week. So you would receive hard copies next week to review. What we would like to do is continue for your next April meeting and then come back for your first meeting in May to give the peer reviewers time to review our responses, and also give you some time to review as well and see and get a letter back from the peer reviewers.
So are you saying you want to be with us on the 22nd, or just skip the 22nd and go to May 13th?
Skip the 22nd.
Okay.
And to Katie's point, that'll give us, or give you guys a chance to see basically a fully updated and all fronts, consolidated set of documents.
Okay, and plus the engineering reviews.
Absolutely.
Any further questions before we continue the public hearing? Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing till the May 13th meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret? Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Moving on to our 7:30 PM agenda item. It's a partial certificate of compliance request for Orchard Church 130 and 134 Littleton Road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Two there.
All right, good evening. I'm Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting. I think I was first here, feels like a decade ago, when we did the delineation and got an ORAD for the resource areas, and then we came back with the plan for the church project, and now we're at a point where all the work done by the contractors is done, and the remaining work has transitioned to the church, and the church has begun doing those things that have to do with invasive control and implementing the meadow management plan and all that. I have to say, it looks as good in person as it did on paper when we were in front of you. It's one of those, from my point of view as a wetland scientist and somebody who does a lot of permitting, it's one of those when you see it built that you actually kind of smile a little bit, because it really does look nice. We do have some things that remain to be done. We've put in all the marker posts, but we still haven't put the marker signs on them for the meadow management plan. We've started the invasive work. We haven't finished it. There were some complications in starting that too early because the contractor didn't want to allow other people on the site, so that there were, so that if something went wrong, anything that went wrong was sort of under the contractor's umbrella rather than a bunch of people doing things. So we got started a little bit late on the invasive work, but the good news is the church, formerly known as Grace Community Church, has really embraced this overall campus, and they've changed their name to Orchard Church, you know, part because there's an apple orchard out there. And somewhat of my encouragement, they formed a stewardship committee that's really taken off, and those folks are really taking charge of invasive management, learning about native plants, and looking to take the limited areas of invasive control that we started out as required under the order of conditions, and taking that sort of campus-wide. And when we were here before, the focus was on the church members' part, was largely the church and the parking, and now that they see the overall fit of the church building and parking within the landscape, they're looking at it as a campus, and we are going to be working to try to tweak the meadow management plan a little bit, mow a couple areas a little more, mow a couple areas a little less, just because once you're on the ground and you see it, things start to make more sense. And we'd like to work with you, while the order is still open under a partial, we can work with you on that. However, the way we wrote the meadow management plan, it's a living document, so it's always been intended that the church and the commission can have an ongoing relationship over smart ways to manage the property without diminishing the value environmentally. So with that said, I do think on this partial certificate, it would be good to invite the commission to come out and do a site walk, see the overall site. To me, it looks great, and the engineer has written his letter, basically saying everything is in conformance with the plans, and like I said, there's a few things on the softer end of it that the church is still working on and will continue to work on, and even once you issue a final certificate, they're not going to stop in terms of going on and dealing with adding natives to the landscape and pulling invasives. And it's been pretty impressive, the number of people they've gotten for these volunteer days where we have tackled it. So with that, I think I can take you through the as-built if you'd like and remind you of the project. I think most of you were here when we permitted this. I know I recognize a lot of faces, but it's been a while.
We don't change.
Yeah. So if you remember, this is the one right next to, I think it's 134, which is a project that was permitted by Roddy, and I can't think of his last name, but
Palmer.
yeah. So and he owned the land the church is built on prior to as well. So we use an access that kind of crosses that property that has been built, comes in, there's a guardrail on one side, a steep slope down, wetlands at the bottom, and then you come onto the church property, and right where you come onto the church property, the paved road turns to your right, and then there's a gravel, it's really more of a gravel road that's a fire road that goes on there. The intent was it was sort of for temporary use and emergency use, and it has grass pave on each side so we can accommodate fire trucks, but it minimized the width of the gravel. As you're going out that gravel path, on your left is an orchard, and on your right is the pond. So in that area, there's an orchard, there's the pond. You can kind of see the edge of the little clouded area, which is the edge of...
Would you like to?
Yeah.
Just don't look at it. There's fresh badges.
Really? Okay, so in this area, you see the clouded area? So here's our pond. The clouded area is because this year was the first year the church actually, or 25, was the first year the church began doing some maintenance in terms of some mowing under the meadow management plan. We didn't get to the entire site, but this area near the pond was always one that we knew was going to be important, and they tackled this first. Manny Gaspar, who was here from the church with me, was actually before you guys to do a fire pit in this area. We've got low bush blueberry planted all along the edge here. And they chose not to mow this area right off the bat, and it turns out this is an area where we'd like to increase from, I think it's 2 mows, and we'll figure out the number we were going to ask for, but we would mow this less because it makes a nice trade-off when you're there. But this creates a great way to connect the folks coming out of the church to the pond, and then we're going to make sure that we desynchronize the mowing so we always have some full vegetation somewhere near the pond, so there's always habitat value. In this area, we've got the orchard, and the mowing was not allowed to, based on our original plan, because of where the wetland line was, it was not allowed to go all the way around where we have some apple trees. So one of the things we'd like to do is, before it's apple picking season, is be able to mow around those trees so that if kids want to go and pick apples, they don't have to get ticks, basically. So that's the kind of thing we'd like to work in. But so you got this really low impact gravel drive. Then you've got the sort of heavier impact paved parking lot and access into the church. The church is right here. We have a series of basins here. These are infiltration basins. They seem to be functioning pretty well. There was some water only in this basin the other day, with these ones being dry. And I think, Matt, you were out and took a look at those quickly as well, right?
Yes, yeah, and it's just kind of that plan left. This one was the only one that really had any retained water, and again, it's kind of just making sure either it's infiltrating or we're kind of making sure that that's, to be retaining water, but that's kind of a engineering kind of.
Yeah, and I spoke with the engineer because I've noticed water in there for a little longer than the 72 hours, typically for an infiltration basin, but we haven't really had enough time during a full season. So when I was noticing, it was right after we had all that snow melt and all that rain. He said even if they're holding it a little longer at that point, they might act like a wet swale, but they're still providing the treatment and everything. He was satisfied, but with that little bit of water, I mean, we just had by the gauges, just the weather, the weather app gauges like less than half an inch of rain in the last week. So it may not be the great test. I'm sure we'll have something before your next meeting where we can be sure, but they do seem to be functioning really well, other than maybe holding water a little bit longer than design. But as I said, the engineer seems satisfied with it. There's stone dust, or called gravel on this plan, but stone dust paths that take people from the parking lot around here and then kind of out to the church. It's kind of a nice setup. It's really pretty. The pond ends up being a backdrop. This area in here we had proposed to be a wildflower meadow, and the church actually was out looking at it, and it was full of wildflowers that were there anyway, and met with Matt on site. I wasn't part of that initial discussion, but they were thinking, why are we going to remove wildflowers and plant wildflowers? And I think that made some sense. We may down the road look to in that area with the stewardship committee. One of the things I was talking about was the concept of opening up like a meter patch and adding some species, some native wildflower species in a little bit at a time, sort of hair plugs for men approach, and just bring the wildflowers in to diversify the species so it's not all goldenrod and things like that. But we are getting, there's plenty of pollinating habitat there, which was the intent. So again, I'm pretty pleased with that. Invasives are kind of everywhere on this property. The areas of focus that we were required to do under the permit were along this rock wall, which is out of your jurisdiction, but it was an area of concern of a neighbor So we had agreed that would be one area of focus. So we go all the way down this rock wall, all the way back here. And the other place was at a stream crossing that, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, but up in this area, there's a stream crossing where that stream crossing was reconstructed. That was all part of the monitoring I was doing. I was out at this property every week for the last, must be 4 years. So it's been a long process, but the other area of invasive control is in this area, and they have taken a lot out, but there's more to go, and there's some resprouting that's occurring. So we've yet to use any herbicides. It's all been weed wrench and manual pulling so far. Although you may recall the protocol that we submitted does include when we get to things that we can't remove because they're either too big or just too stubborn, then using a direct application of a triclopyr for the woody vegetation or glyphosate for the herbaceous. But again, those are applied directly into a cut bark or onto a cut stump. No foliar spraying or anything was proposed. So anyway, so then we go further back. You've got the church. You may remember that we have a phase 2 parking area that was included in our stormwater that would go over the infiltration area. So far, phase 1 has been paved. The fire department asked us to have a gravel turnaround out here, so we did do, and this is outside the buffer zones and not within your jurisdiction, but there's that, and then the church has used this area as sort of a dirt parking area for overflow because they've had some overlapping services where they've been chock full in the parking lot, which is, I guess, a good thing, right? It's a good problem to have, to not have enough parking. But if we, you look at the area over here where we get down the buffer zone, this is all meadow. This is an area that has limited mowing, slope down, beautiful wetlands. It's a nice big sort of cattail wetland with a lot of standing water. I mean, I think it's a beautiful wetland, and you see a lot of deer and stuff in that area. And if we can go plan north a little bit, you may remember there was an existing sort of trail network that the members maintain, a very light touch trail where they basically go into the woods on the other side where they own, and it goes around and kind of has a nice loop trail. So if you're driving down Littleton Road, you'll see the sign for the church, and you'll also see it advertises the trail as well. So the public are welcome to come, walk the trail, and it really is, it's not very long, but it's long enough that you can walk out there and spend a good 20 minutes doing a loop. It's really quite nice, and the way the church tends to do the maintenance on the trail is basically forest stuff, and they put fallen branches and trees kind of along the side to just continually shape it. To date, they haven't put any kind of blazes or markers. They haven't had to in any significant way to mark it. It just sort of shows itself where it is. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. It's a big project. As I said, I'm pleased. It obviously, with any big project, we had some bumps in the road and getting grading right and figuring things out along the way, but the end result is pretty good.
So Matt, are you happy with the parcel certificate of compliance? Have any issues you want to bring to our attention?
No, again, it was really that last kind of, the one kind of infiltration basin that's on the slower infiltrating side. And again, to Tom's point, coming out of, I think we first, prior to stopping out recently, my previous visit was, it was December before we got all the, or early January before we got all the snow. And, there was questions about skating on the pond, and I would have felt much more comfortable skating on the infiltration basin. But, I think give it a little bit of time, see kind of how it's, whether it's infiltrating, whether, it's kind of groundwater influenced right now. Again, it's that time of year.
I don't hear you having any.
Nothing significant. Again, in terms of if the commission wants to do a site visit before issuing the partial, again, most of, there was
I
the,
guess we could do one before we do the final.
Okay, yeah, and again, kind of to Tom's point was the discussions about kind of modifying the meadow management plan, and while certainly having a plan on screen, having a 2D plan is helpful for that.
Maybe if you want to go out and do that, that's probably
Yeah.
helpful. I have no problem doing that.
Okay.
So I'm good with the site visit if we want to do one.
Okay, so Matt, you'll send out some proposed dates and get
Yep.
people's feedback?
Can get times.
Do you want to hold off on the partial till we do that?
I mean, just in case there's anything,
Okay.
just so that
Okay.
it's kind
Yeah.
of all together.
We can hold, yeah.
And I know the planning board is still retaining some money for some, more kind of cosmetic-y stuff, but,
It's a lot of work.
But 2 weeks, we can
All right.
we'll put it on early, and
What's the
Get it in
capacity?
before our next meeting, the site visit, and we'll just continue.
I was just curious, what's the capacity of the church?
It's about 460.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and there's a lot of parking spots, so it takes a lot of people to fill that up. Yeah, and I would just ask, just
That's a
given
big piece.
tax day is the 15th, if we can maybe do the site visit after the tax day wouldn't be bad.
sure.
But whenever you want to set it up, I can accommodate.
Do you want to make continue?
Well, no, because it's a partial certificate,
Okay.
so it's not a public hearing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt will put it on the agenda for
Sure.
the 22nd.
And look to get kind of feedback for coordinated time.
Yes. Okay.
All right, awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you guys have a good night.
Okay, moving on to our 7:40 PM agenda item. It's a public hearing for the Works Cafe LLC, 175 Littleton Road.
Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 8, 2026, at 7:40 PM in Union 201, Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the requested determination of applicability application of the Works Cafe LLC for after-the-fact approval for the installation of an 8 by 22 foot exterior walk-in cooler and new sidewalk, portions of which are within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands and bordering land subject to flooding at 175 Littleton Road, Unit P, Assessors Map 17, Parcel 13, Lot 0.
Good evening. Bruce Ringwald for GPR, Goldsmith Preston Ringwald, and Jessica Halloran for Works Cafe. We're here before you this evening for, unfortunately, an after-the-fact request for determination of applicability. This project is a renovation of, let's see, what do we want to call it? Former D'Angelo's and the mac and cheese restaurant. They had a building permit to modify the concrete area outside towards the parking lot for an outdoor seating area, and to put the walk-in refrigeration unit in the back of the property, but neglected to coordinate with you folks beforehand for putting that in, which, as you can see, is on the edge of the 100-foot buffer. It is within the landscaped area and away from the parking lot, and your wetland line is obviously on the other side of the parking lot down the slope. This is a picture post the construction. Since then, there has been, thank you, since then there's been sod installed in that area. They did not bring enough sod up. There's a little bit more sod being delivered tomorrow, but as you can see, they cleaned up the pavement. dirt and sodded the area behind the building. So this is the new walk-in. The walkway used to go right straight through. Now it goes around the walk-in, and there's a pass-through between the two portions of the building, if you're familiar with the plaza. This is the walk-in itself in the back. And that pretty much in a nutshell is what went on in the buffer zone. And turn it over to the commission for any questions.
Any questions from members of the commission?
Did this get passed through all the departments in town? Is that how it got?
So it originally required an administrative approval through the planning board for the exterior installation. At that time, did make comment that it was within 100 feet, or it appeared within 100 feet, and that should seek a review and approval by the commission under the state's Wetlands Protection Act and the town's local wetland bylaw. It just, the assistant planner forwarded the email on, and it didn't materialize until, you know, yeah, it got to us now. And so, you know, it's, you know.
We went through the review and somebody, you probably saw it and marked it as.
Yep, yeah, and so that, and it made, that comment made it into the planning board's administrative approval, and again, it just didn't, you know, kind of result in.
So I didn't get dotted?
Yes.
No?
How many feet is that inside the 100-foot buffer?
Well, the walkway was extended, replaced from the edge of parking lot where you have the crosswalk area right there. Thank you, Matt. And so at that point there, given the parking lots are about 20 feet deep, I'd say 78, 77 feet, something like that.
Yeah, so it's certainly at the far outs, you know, all work was probably no closer than 75 feet. Again, and the previous condition, looking at aerial imagery, was just kind of this lawn, you know, kind of turf grass in that area. So again, a little bit of, prior to my site visit last Thursday, observed, you know, kind of the unstable condition, the, you know, little bit of kind of topsoil that had kind of migrated, and the applicant was, you know, by Monday it was resolved. So can certainly appreciate getting on, kind of, yeah, trying to make it right.
We definitely tried, and we picked up, we've added cleanup like along, because trash kind of migrates into that slope. So we have the employees incorporate that picking up trash into the travel path. So we cleaned up, and we'll keep the parking lot clean.
So,
and that's something also I wanted to kind of, I didn't, as you guys aren't open, I figured, you know, the wrappers and the bottles and the stuff weren't your, you know, customers.
It's in our purview.
but you know, it's a conversation I want to have with the property owner, just because it's not, you know, there's just general trash and litter in bed.
So-
but this is.
Would the site plan show better the area you're talking about?
Certainly.
Yeah, so I think you're kind of referring to this general.
Yeah,
parking,
yeah,
you know,
okay, yeah.
that slope, and
Yeah.
again, that's the slope. Again, one of my other comment, or kind of site concerns from my site visit was it goes straight from the curb down to the wetland. There's no, you know, as we saw yesterday at the Regency, you know, no signs talking about no snow storage. There's no fences, you know, there's some, I'd like to kind of discuss with the property owner some improvements that, again.
It's all paved, right?
Well, yeah, so I mean, this is pavement, there's the
Yeah.
catch, you know, but it's kind of just grassed and down to the Tella slope. And again, it was constructed in 70?
What's the lie of the land there? Will it slope towards that side?
Yeah, so it slopes,
Those are the grade lines, those dotted lines are grade lines.
yeah, so it slopes,
Oh, the numbers there.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah, 251.
1 foot contours.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're 1 footers, so
250.
it slopes across from the building to the outer edge, hence the catch basins are along that outer edge. And as Matt said, you know, this was like an early 70s construction, So, the drainage is such, but the slope drops about 2 to 3 feet, 4 feet in places down to the edge of wetlands, and it's just a slope down. And as Jess pointed out, she had her employees out picking up debris along the edge, because they're not open yet, and keeping them going.
Lauren?
Since it's a new freezer, hopefully this isn't a thing, but are there any plans in place for if there's a Freon leak or is Freon in a walk-in freezer, or like if?
What's the product that's used?
Yeah.
It's this. It is a vapor. It's not a liquid. It doesn't come out a liquid.
Oh, interesting.
So if there's a leak, it vaporizes.
And that was my, again, kind of concern based upon.
So then you wear a gas mask.
Yeah. I don't know, I would do whatever's in the MSDS sheet. My original concern with it was if it was like glycol or some liquid that, again, if that leaks, then it goes across the pavement into catch basins, into.
Well, that's different.
So, having it be, I mean, it's not great if there's a gas leak, but
May cause asphyxia.
it's better than, better from the wetlands standpoint, I guess.
Okay.
Jim, based on the public hearing notice, are you good with what you've seen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. No comments or questions from members of the audience? So is this?
I would just issue a negative determination. Again, there's no,
conditions.
That's
they
positive.
sought
You're
it.
gonna do a conditional, because don't you want to talk to the folks?
But that's the building owner
Okay.
for
That's
the
the
entire
Yeah,
site.
that's a whole nother kind of, and again, where they're sodding it, there's no like, oh, I need to make sure it's stabilized before erosion controls get removed.
When do you plan on opening?
Friday.
If all goes well, Friday will be our day.
Oh.
Yeah, well, you guys are our last step, so everything else is approved through all the other departments.
I saw the notice.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're an environmentally friendly company too, so we actually got a composting contractor, which is kind of hard to find these days, so we're happy to have that too as well.
Can I have a motion to issue a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel? Jim?
Yes.
Ann? Yes. Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.
Who made the motion in second? Sorry.
Oh.
Marilyn.
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 Always.
Okay, thanks.
And can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Can I have a second? All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel? Jim?
Yes.
Ann? Yes. Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so
Good luck
much.
Friday.
Yes,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll see you there.
Moving on to our 7:45 PM agenda item.
Bagel Alley.
It's review and issue enforcement order for Industrial Rents LLC, 123 Oak Hill Road.
So I guess this is more so a me thing, and this seeing as the property owner's not here.
You've been in touch with them?
I've contacted him via email with the draft enforcement. The building commissioner has confirmed. I've spoken this afternoon with, I think, the proposed future tenant of this unit, and provided the draft enforcement order there as well. So kind of just quickly running through the findings. A site plan review was filed with the planning board December of '24, as it was proposed to be changed from a factory and warehouse to a dog daycare business. The plan prepared noted that wetlands were on the property, but were delineated and approved in 1998, but no alteration was, none of the proposed alteration was in proximity to the resource area. So it was not kind of flagged similarly to the previous public hearing. The building commissioner, assistant building commissioner, and fire prevention officer on March 20th of this year issued a stop work order subsequent to that, he asked town departments to kind of review the site and any permits or applicable regulations to see if there any work had been done in violation of fire code, building code, health code, all the whole myriad of things with which the town kind of has a regulatory oversight of. In reviewing aerial imagery from September of '25 and based upon a site visit I conducted myself, there did appear to be alteration within 100 feet of a jurisdictional bordering vegetated wetlands and freshwater wetland and the 100-year flood line, as shown on kind of the screenshot included. The red line is 100 feet. Again, kind of the dead trees was the approximate edge of wetland, and you can see some degree of alteration, maybe 30 feet, 40 feet, of a previously disturbed area that was on the site and had kind of regrown, had naturalized after no activity, and as such, alteration had occurred.
Could you tell from when to when,
What was
Yes,
the before date and what was the?
Yeah, so after the date of
sometime between?
Yeah, so it was between either late 2024 and into 2025, and it was again, the date on the aerial imagery is September, so after the date of acquisition by the current property owner. That was my kind of timestamp on that.
Confused me.
So the image that's not shown here, but was the before image, was taken after the July?
Was taken before the property had been transferred to
Okay.
to the current owner. This,
Before it had been transferred.
yes. So no alteration appeared to have occurred prior
To transfer to the current owner.
So existing condition at the time of transfer showed no disturbance.
It was the same.
I thought it was a month or sometime before the transfer, not the time of the transfer.
No,
Sometime before.
Alteration took some time after the time of the transfer.
but the before image shows, the before image from before the transfer shows no disturbance.
No alteration.
No alteration. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
the image didn't happen on the day of the transfer. So there's some time between the first image and the transfer. I mean, and we don't know.
The first image shows-
What happened in there.
There's
It could have happened with the prior owner.
no, the,
I mean,
I see what you're saying.
the existing conditions,
This isn't necessarily the current landowner having done this. It could have happened between the first picture and.
and so in a conversation today with the proposed tenant of Unit B, as shown in the site plan, wherever that is, that was done, that's the same plan. So again, this kind of Unit B proposed. I spoke with the prior tenant there today, who reached out and, had some questions, and verbally discussed, that they had performed the alteration. So,
the Unit B owner did?
the new tenant of Unit B confirmed that the,
We got the wrong, we're going after the owner.
well, again, I don't know who did it, again, I can confirm that it was on the property, the property owner, has care and custody of the, has,
It's his property.
it's his property.
But I thought you just said that
Right, I mean, and they mentioned both the property owner and, they didn't mean to, perform the alteration. I want to get to a state of, again, whereas the wetland delineation the wetland delineation utilized as part of the site plan for the, tenant A, site plan review needed it was from 1998. I would like a new, I want a new wetland resource delineation to occur within 60 days from the date of issuance of the enforcement order. 90 days from the issuance of the enforcement order that a remediation plan be provided, again, for that area, any disturbed area within 100 feet of the jurisdictional wetland resource. And also kind of tying this, taking a ordered condition from a order of conditions issued to the same property owner for a different property, that any deeds or leases to future tenants require them to get written acknowledgement of a 100-foot buffer, or the proximity to the wetlands on site.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Got more you want to add to it, Sean? You're staring at it.
I'm just not happy with it. Mr. Franklin didn't do this. You talked to the person that did it.
Well, I mean, they said both themselves and the property owner.
Oh.
Yeah, right, again, they said both people had, done something.
Did you speak to Mr. Franklin about it?
I have not spoken with Mr. Franklin about it. I have sent him the enforcement order, I have not heard back. He's stopped into town
You're
hall.
supposed to reply within 24 hours or something.
Well, I mean, again, it hasn't been issued. So again, this was a draft. I wanted you guys, again, as no active,
Did you say he stopped in?
he stopped into town hall. I had not, he wanted to discuss it, and I was out at a site visit, and,
That's something.
but I also wanted to give, he also has a, 8-page, or however, how many page document like 5-page letter from the building commissioner regarding the myriad of kind of regulations and things with which needed to occur. So,
So you're looking for a motion to issue the enforcement order?
yes, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Well, it's seconded on here. Is there any way we can add more information about your conversation?
Yep, I can add.
The owner and the tenant, whoever admitted to doing this.
Yep, I mean,
So who made the statement and who were the parties the statement said did the work?
Right.
Right, yep, I can add that after, kind of my response.
Somewhere in the findings when you met with.
Yeah, it would be probably the top of page 6, before kind of the activity of destruction. After the photo, before kind of the actual citations of the deviations, violations of the wetlands regs.
So make the motion that we issue the enforcement order as amended. You can second that.
Second. All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next 7:45 PM agenda item, the Freedom Park Abbott Millworkers application.
We received an email yesterday from the chair of the Monuments and Memorials Committee saying that the proponent for the proposed monument no longer desires to pursue the park. This desire to locate the monument at the Freedom Park portion adjacent to Pleasant Street, so.
Okay.
Goes off.
Yes,
Isn't that something we need to consider going forward?
correct.
Okay. Moving on to our next 7:45 PM agenda item. It's Stony Brook Conservation Area. Let's take them in order.
Included and shown on screen, the one of the directors for Park Run has requested the extension of the end date to October 26th, October 10th, 2026. I did not let them know. I failed to let them know that this would be at this meeting. I thought
Yeah,
so.
what?
As I'm reading, then the request said raised at an upcoming commission meeting. I forgot to.
What was our, we had a proposed time frame for a quick
What was-
review, like
It was
next-
through
They
August.
were gonna start, and then they were gonna come and visit us, and we were gonna talk about how many people they had, how it was going, did we have any complaints or issues or anything like that. And so it was gonna be till August before school starts,
Or through or two? Oh.
Through August.
from whenever they start, which I guess this is saying May 5th or something,
Yes.
May,
Yeah, May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Yeah. And so, again, there were a little kind of just confirmation delays of the insurance certificate for the town. And so,
This isn't even talking about the trial period is what? This is talking about just run and go. They got the okay, they're gonna run it May 2nd till October 10th.
so the
That's all this says. It doesn't say about the trial period at all.
No,
I
so
can't
the,
understand you.
the commission's approval was from April through August.
Wasn't there gonna be a short period of time where they're gonna run a few events, then we're
No, that was
Visit us.
that was
We're gonna-
potentially last year, but they never got it.
We haven't run any events yet, so we don't know if it's gonna work well or not. We don't know how well this thing's gonna
Well,
be.
I think my recollection is that the April through August of this year was going to be their pilot. That they were gonna set it up, they were gonna run it, we were gonna see how it went.
Okay.
That they had, I think at one point they were talking about doing a pilot in the fall, and we couldn't get things lined up properly. It's like,
That sounds okay. I did a little bit wrong, but we could work April to October, April to August, or May to August, I guess. But if we start going past the August time, mid-August or later, we're gonna start to immediately having schools at the same time.
the cross-country,
Yeah.
yeah.
The-
Well, and this is just they're asking if we would consider extending the end date to October, and so that's for us to discuss. Do we want to, they're asking, could the end date move from the end of August to October 10th? And so that's what's before us for discussion. You have a,
Yeah, the schools run on the weekends in there?
They run during.
Before
I think no,
They don't on Saturdays.
I think they may practice or train on Saturdays, but their meets at the property are typically, I think, Tuesday and Thursday afternoons.
And
Tuesday.
So
this
how
is like-
often is
and
it
This is like
actually-
captain's practices. It's not the school hasn't even opened up yet.
Right.
By August.
Right. No, you're saying when are the meets?
I'm saying when is the school actually using it? Like,
I mean, so they typically use it the last 2 weeks of August through maybe the end of October.
on Saturdays.
no,
Their meets are Tuesdays and or
Well,
Thursdays.
if they're not meeting on Saturdays,
It doesn't conflict.
there's no confliction.
It's being used, but it
The
doesn't conflict.
the training.
Right. They may practice there, but they may be running somewhere else too.
Do we
Right?
know
So I
what
don't
changed?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, do we know what changed? I mean,
So there was.
initially, it was shorter because it was the first time.
Well, we wanted to get some sort of
A
like
feel.
findings
Yeah,
and
a feel, right.
We wanna-
some
right,
sort
right.
of
It was
report on.
everybody, it was
And
everybody.
I thought we had it,
So there was no
purposely
problem with that, but what
short.
August,
I thought so too.
you
August.
know,
So-
and now
so
we're
what's
being asked to
changed?
extend it again.
What, can we ask
So-
what's changed? Do we know?
So the
A request.
No.
so the
Eric.
approval by the approval of the insurance certificate through the town manager's office took, I think it took the better part of 3 or 4 weeks to
Oh,
kind
so
of.
they started late?
Right, so they got confirmation late, they got confirmation of the insurance, that was delayed.
So this-
Again, either 3 or 4 weeks, I'm not, I didn't, but this is also asking to extend 6 weeks longer.
Okay, but did they lose 3 or 4 weeks then? In
I
the
mean,
beginning, if they didn't get confirmation?
their approval was,
In other words, they may not have that many more weeks in totality, they're shifting the dates. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
so the approval, the approved dates by the commission was April 2026 through August 29th, 2026.
And insurance started when?
So the insurance, that, they're, from when they provided that to me and I then provided it to the town, there was a delay in that, review and getting confirmation. And that was approximately 4 weeks.
Okay.
So again, had they wanted to start April, last weekend.
But they didn't.
Right, but, they've pushed back the.
I can't blame them with this weather.
They did have it published online somewhere that it was going to start last weekend.
They did?
Yes. But I went there, I know someone else that had gone down to the Stony Brook end, and I'd gone to the middle school end, and neither one had crowd, and there were no users.
Well,
Okay. Anyhow,
Maybe in July, we asked them to come back, give us a report.
yeah, I think, well, they said they were gonna send us statistics, that they were gonna be able to provide the statistics weekly. But yes, there was some general talk about giving us a report and how it went.
Then we
So-
could extend it to October.
And
so how many weeks have they actually lost? If they're
That doesn't matter.
I mean,
I'm
so they're.
just curious.
I mean, so so they could have, if they could have started the first weekend of April, and now they're proposing the first weekend in May. That's
Okay,
four,
so it's
4 weeks.
Okay,
you know.
okay, okay.
And so that's, I mean, my thought was, let's, again, the condition of approval as via the landowner permission stated that park run operates for no more than 5 months during the year and shall be agreed to prior, again, that's kind of the, subsequent, right, so,
This would be more than
Takes us
5
to the end of
months.
September.
right, so through.
More than 5 months if we took their date.
Right, so
Once a
May,
week,
June,
week,
July,
2 weeks.
August, so through the end of September would be consistent with,
And they're asking for what, October?
right, which would be a 6th month.
So maybe we say till September.
I mean, I would also,
Through the end of August right now.
Yeah.
right, it's through the end of August right now. I'd ask for them to come back the first meeting in July and show us the, if there's
What's
so much.
happening, and we'll discuss it then.
Well, and one of the things is, they did, because of the challenges getting through the parking area, they changed the route to, instead of doing the full loop, they would take the Wacky Trail, go around the gate to the girls' camp access road, and then go back the other way. So now, instead of the whole thing going one direction, they're coming here, turning around, and then going back the same route. So I'd kind of like to hear how that's working out.
All right, so make them come before us,
Yes, so have them come at some point in July
and talk to us.
and talk, give us an interim report, and we'll consider this at that point.
That sounds
That
excellent.
sounds good,
Yep.
that
So-
sounds good.
The other thing is, they're drafting a press release, and they want a comment of support or endorsement from the commission. And
We don't do endorsements.
that's all, yes, so that's what I will feed back, is we've given them permission to run the event.
Our name, image, and likeness is very, very valuable.
The fact that they have permission
Yeah,
is an
it's,
endorsement.
well, no,
No,
it's
not yet.
not,
Not
it's
yet.
not
Not
endorsement.
yet.
Well, it just,
Well, I'm saying that in tongue. in
Providing
cheek.
the opportunity for them to use East Boston cabs.
well,
Okay.
because the
We don't
endorse,
take- Well, then we don't take endorsements.
the endorsement was looking for the endorsement was looking for, they were looking for an endorsement of the goals of their program.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, no, we've given you permission to run it and see how it goes.
And we'll
Okay.
see you in August or whenever, and you'll let us
Yeah.
know how it's going.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Jim, you look like you,
No, I thought somebody, who were talking like July. I thought.
Yeah.
Whenever
First
that,
meeting in
you know.
July.
Have them come visit us in July with their statistics.
Yep.
And then we'll consider going all the way till,
We'll talk
October.
about it.
Well,
October
actually-
second, that'll be 5 months, right?
Yes.
They're not gonna get October could
Yeah,
say-
like a
we could say
subjective
we can't-
report.
We can't extend it to October 10th. The farthest we can extend it is October 5th.
But you know what, well,
What?
let's see what they have, let's hear how it's going before we.
Before we say yes or no.
But
Well,
before
we
we.
have to say no about the October date because we have a restriction that we only have 5 months that we're allowed to have them running. 5 months in a year, right?
Mhm.
That's what that came from the Westford Land Preservation Foundation.
Mhm.
So that's it. We got 5 months. So they're not gonna get October 10th. And we wanted them earlier, we wanted a quick visit to find out how things have been going. We'll find out, we'll know if we have any complaints, if we have any issues, if they have any complaints or any issues. But why wait till they're done for the year?
No,
I think in like 2 months, we'll probably have a pretty good idea whether it's gonna work. or
Well,
not.
I mean, so beginning of May, so they start beginning of May,
Yeah.
they come in July, they have 2 months of, they have 2
Yeah.
months of data.
That sounds
Okay,
good.
that works.
right, but,
And if it works out, then we give it to, if we say yes,
Yeah,
you
end
can
of
use it
September.
through the end of September or by October 2nd.
We'll
Well-
decide then.
we'll evaluate the information they give us and decide about whether we agree to extend
Okay,
Right.
at that point.
that sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay, that
we don't
works.
want to set the conditions for extension if we have no information about how it went.
Yeah,
Right.
that works, that works.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So, one down. Okay, so the next is discussion to extend the Teamworks
So Matt, you're gonna call,
Lydia.
Wait, yeah, we'll respond to her email.
Okay, so the next one is the discussion of the extension of the Teamworks lease of Camp Neshoba for 3 years. The commission had originally voted to extend the lease for 5, delegated Jim and I to be in the negotiations for deciding the rental payment. With the conditions of the building and the problems we've had with vandalism over the winter, in general discussions with Jim, Matt, myself, we've really realized that we need to review the condition of the buildings and, and what needs to be addressed. So what we've actually come up with is we'd like to modify the commission's approval to extend the lease, changing the word, instead of extending the lease for 5 years, extending the lease for up to 5 years, so we have the flexibility of negotiating the contract in terms.
it was up to 3.
Well, no, I mean, I think up to 5, and we can certainly
Because
kind
it-
of.
All right, okay.
Because
All right.
as we go through the negotiations and we let them know about, what we're looking at with the buildings, is we can structure it for what will work for us, and we can look at, how they feel about, what time frame they want. But it just, we're no longer committed to a
Not
5-year
bound to it.
extension.
And very
Yeah.
soon, we should have our maintenance person on contract.
Yep, that'll be on the select board's next mission. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
along with
They
us.
didn't get to work immediately.
That's good. I didn't know about that.
Most of the
Okay.
damage that you guys saw some of the pictures, but most of the
Vandalism?
vandalism was on the recreation department's camp. There was just one building that had mysterious, kind of looked like the building imploded almost, just a small shack. It wasn't even being used by Teamworks, but it's the only building in the Teamworks area that's a big concern. But we'd like to get the maintenance person working as soon as possible, because they only have, a month and a half or so between now and the time the first campers start showing up to get the vandalism repaired and to go over the buildings that we do have.
What
get
about
them usable.
the spotted vandalism? Have we, with the boats being taken out? and-
What?
Well, no, the boathouse had been vandalized so that one of the doors could be accessed, and then somebody else said, let me go in and take out a boat. So we're dealing with lots of,
Okay.
different pieces. In fact, on Thursday, March 26th, when June had called to the police to report it, and they dispatched an officer and then 2 detectives, they had reached out to Matt to get somebody from the commission on site, and I was able to respond. So I was up there when the detectives were there, they had recorded what they saw for damage. They walked me through everything that they had observed, so I kind of had a first eye view on it as well. And yeah, most of what was looked at was in Camp Cielo rather than Camp Neshoba. But yeah,
But there's probably just some general maintenance, locks, doors, windows that need to be looked at in the Teamworks camp area.
yeah, and some of,
The sooner we can get the contract from the select board, the sooner we can get the maintenance people working.
but some of what I saw, for example, with one, it was a case where the padlock that was on the door, the hasp portion had holes for 3 screws. There was 1 screw in it, and it looked like the wood, it wasn't solid wood, to the point where you could actually just, give it a good pull, and that 1 screw couldn't hold it. So that's where we start to get into, what the buildings need so that they can be secured.
Okay.
Yeah, so the short answer is, can I have a motion to modify the commission's approval for renewal, for extension of the Teamworks lease for up to 5 years, negotiated with Elite Teamworks?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay. Over to you, Matt.
I don't have, I unfortunately have not been able to finish the tree pruning or tree removal and tree pruning documentation at the Depot Street parking lot.
Can you give at
So
least
the
what the
overview.
intent is?
So the intent was to document trees that posed a risk to the parking area, to the general parking area, where they may be dead, and again, not be, right, or, significant limbs. Again, that's also a fairly dense pine stand, or white pine stand, and most of the growth is up at the crown, and there's just dead branches, for the better part of, 40 feet. And, the goal is to, mitigate potential hazards to cars parking there, the traveled ways up to the camps, again, in the event of a severe storm event and people having to get, emergency responders or anybody having to get up there. So that's really kind of the goal. It would be to, document the trees, some of the more significant, say, branches of or limbs of oaks that are 8 inches in diameter, and showing no signs of visible growth, no buds, no leaves. Again, this is a great time of year to kind of determine that, and provide a general scope of work, that then could be provided to a contractor for, here's what I'm looking for, please provide a price, and kind of start it, going from there. Again, the commission having care and custody of the property, kind of want you guys to have a review of that before it, again, also needs to get run by the conservation restriction grantee to confirm that it is consistent with the CR. And so it's certainly not just a, unilateral decision by myself.
Come on, let it be a unilateral decision by yourself.
Don't
When has
tempt
he
me.
ever had that privilege?
Don't tempt me with a good time, Eric. Same thing with the leash law signage and the proposed locations. Again, that probably is a little bit lighter lift that I can, we'll try to, again, as the weather is getting nice and activity is commencing up there, kind of acting on the animal control officers and assistant town managers kind of previous email from January or February. I do not have an update on the draft MOU with the Agricultural Commission, as their meeting, their anticipated meeting for Monday was not held, so I will attend to prevent the draft MOU at their next meeting, whenever that is. Kind of as a segue, with April 14th, the select board has invited the commission to present updates on kind of just what the commission does, any, goals, updates, issues, again, challenges we're facing, again, kind of the operation of the Stony Brook Conservation Area and, the vandalism to that effect and, adherence to the property, to the rules and regulations in the property.
Good place to bring that up.
So, go ahead, Noel.
There's something in the packet,
Yes, and so that was gonna be I was gonna flip to that after.
and to the left, the two things are exactly the same.
What did I do?
There's a, right, this one to the left. Right there,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see the mission statement and summary of responsibilities?
Yeah, it was kind of copied.
It's completely, totally copied and pasted.
Yeah, again, I think the mission statement, this is good, kind of, I'll make sure in the next annual report that we don't, copy the same paragraph twice.
Test to see if anybody knows.
Or just say, see above.
Right, I didn't really have a good way to kind of rewrite it, and I don't know, next year I'll go throw it into AI to be like, hey, write this differently, but say the same thing. But kind of to your point, at the last time we kind of discussed this, having the annual report, the kind of discussion of the key roles. Again, you did, kind of the metrics of, at 36 certificates of compliance, 28 determinations of applicability, 16 orders of conditions, and again, 2 enforcement orders, 3 emergency certifications. And kind of looking back at past historical numbers as well, which, seems pretty consistent, although I was a little violation happy in FY24. Again.
Can we get a copy of that?
Yeah, it's in the, I can.
Did I
send-
miss it?
Town meeting.
It's
Oh,
in.
town meeting, okay,
yeah.
never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind. I have.
but it's, in terms of the commission has 24 meetings a year, we're reviewing at least, one determination of applicability.
We're closing one.
Right, we're closing one determination of applicability. Or at least applications, and that's kind of the applications reviewed, that's the difference between kind of the two charts was, things issued versus, applications that have come in. So even just looking at, things that were on agendas, 28 determinations, so just over one determination of, request for determination of applicability per meeting. A notice of intent, we're almost at, we're at 1.5, if not just to tick above. And that's just for applications received, not, say some of those public hearings like,
37 Powers Road?
I think 37 Powers Road. Yes, or, that's not counting continued things that, the commission's kind of, again, just from a wetlands perspective, we had 3 continuances tonight, 1 new, or 3 issued 2 orders tonight, issued a determination and, and an enforcement order.
So we all attending on the 14th?
I was going to say, who's planning on, anybody planning? I'm planning to go, is it? Okay, and you'll be there? Anybody else interested in?
In person or online, right?
Right.
They prefer to be in person.
Yeah,
So would
I'm
I.
gonna go in person.
So if there are more than
There's
4 of
a
us
meeting.
that show up in person, do we have it
I don't know.
Where is
posted as a
that?
meeting?
Yeah, so I think they were planning on posting.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say,
So-
where are they having it?
I mean, it's as part of their regular select, kind of just a,
So they're gonna have it here?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just remind us,
Yeah.
maybe if I can.
And so I'll let them know that
It's
at
the day
least,
before.
What?
Yep.
What'd you say?
I'll let them know at least 4 commission members
Jim, let me
will
know
be in
if you go.
attendance.
Jim,
Yeah.
let me know if you're going, because it's nighttime.
I'm planning on.
Okay.
And I might come too.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'll let the,
What date
Might.
is it? What date
Tuesday.
is it?
14.
Next
The
Tuesday.
14th,
Oh, it's next Tuesday.
a week from yesterday.
see. They
That's
had
next
prior dates
Tuesday.
picked and it didn't happen, so we'll
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see.
Well, we're past that meeting now, so that's so much new.
Okay. So the next one is with, so June McMorrow, her volunteer activity form was submitted prior to March 2024. So we will be following up with her to see if she's interested again. We got a volunteer activity form from a new person. So that's somebody else that we'll reach out to for setting up interviews. Matt had also put the list of questions we've used in the past into the packet. In terms of looking at that, my question was, do we refresh it in terms of, for example, are there questions we want, maybe we haven't found them all that helpful or relevant as we do more interviews over time? Do we want to drop any, maybe add some new ones, just getting people's thoughts?
I'm still perfectly happy with the one I had there. I'll ask myself that question if you'd like.
Well, and that becomes the other thing too, is what do we do for people who are sitting members of the commission?
I'll ask myself the question.
Well, do we, I guess that's the thing, is that says for members whose terms are expiring and want to be reappointed, do we do an interview process or do we just?
I don't know what the selectmen's, it was kind of, makes your eyes kind of roll back in your head when you read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they expect.
So maybe, I guess maybe what we do, because the request for consideration for appointment letter includes factual information about the applicant that's being recommended. So we have 3 openings. We have to send 3 separate letters for the 3 people. And so part of what it is factual information, why you think the particular person mentioned in the letter would be a good candidate. So maybe what we look at is how many meetings attended during their term.
I don't know if that's in this one. Maybe one.
How many meetings attended, Mullins for, the Mullen process completed for any meetings missed. I don't know,
Yeah,
site
I think
visits
they did
attended.
that too, sure.
Because a lot of it is a sitting member.
I don't think you can hold folks to 2 separate metrics. Like, it's almost like you're saying, well, people who, one set of standards for people who are currently on, and a different set of metrics or questions for people who,
Okay.
haven't been on the commission. I guess a simple question would just find out, if I have to interview with everybody else and answer the same questions, I will.
Okay.
Have the selectman or select board or somebody say that we follow the process, or is there a different process? I don't know if we should necessarily be trying to figure that out on our own.
It should be pretty easy to figure out. They should be able to tell us with a simple asked question. It should be.
Yeah, should be.
So do we want to ask them next Tuesday?
Sure.
Sure.
It says,
That gives us time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it because where you start to get in the weeds is people whose terms are expiring. How much can they vote how much can they vote on when the commission decides these are the 3 people we want to request be reappointed?
I have no idea how that works.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, your appointment lasts till what, the end of June, was it June 30th or whatever? So, you're a voted commission member till you're no longer a commission member.
So you can vote yes to have yourself reappointed.
Like I said, I don't know.
Or do you have to?
Yeah, see, I don't know, so let's
Okay.
ask
Because
the,
there's no monetary gain or not if you. vote
Yeah, it's
yes.
not, yeah.
Say
again.
Well, that's,
I
that's
didn't
no,
hear you.
yeah.
What'd you
It's-
say?
They think they made it a little too complex and wonderful.
Seems what they really wanted was term limits.
They should have made it simple.
I think they just wanted
Do
a
they really
standardized
want to?
process across boards and committees. And that's,
To incorporate new,
right, new VAFs that have been received, yeah. You know, or I don't think to incorporate it, I think it was just that you have to kind of consider VAFs that, you know, are received during that time. So I don't think there was really.
I don't think they mind giving us clarification when we meet.
Okay,
I don't have to worry about this
Yeah.
anymore.
Next.
next, okay, yeah, so,
You got another couple of years.
If I would, yes.
okay, well,
Yes,
certificate of
2
compliance request for 69 Franklin.
I'm on
Because
this-
there's
I'm
no
on this committee,
response,
24.
do we want to make the determination that the certificate of compliance request is denied because the information that's been requested has not been provided?
Yes, I would like the commission, if, as we've had limited back and forth since the initial request for certificate of compliance was provided and discussed, I forget
If you
when.
deny a certificate of compliance, does that information go to DEP?
No.
No.
It just means that they have to come back and request it again.
I'd like something to go to DEP.
I mean, so that would be like an enforcement order.
Endless problems.
Right, well, I mean, if they're, you know, we can certainly table this, you know, I can go perform a site visit to confirm, again, we asked for additional information in terms of, again, an as-built, you know, a degree of an as-built, there was some stuff, for lack of a better term, that needed to be moved outside of the buffer, from within the buffer to out. You know, I can go perform a site visit and use that as an opportunity to say, hey, if we don't get anything, the commission, you know, is considering denying it, and you'll have to get a new, you know, refile the request for determination, or the
No.
request for a certificate of
Yeah.
compliance.
Do we follow a denial with a violation?
Or you mean an enforcement order?
Yes.
I mean, I think I would procedurally have 2 votes, but, you know,
Yeah.
if something isn't, you know, as a mechanism to enact compliance.
The DEP is a much bigger hammer than we do, and we haven't been wielding our little tiny ball peen hammer too well for the last couple of years with Mr. Franklin.
Oh. So if you will arrange to do this site visit, let them know that if we don't get the information requested, we're going to deny the request
Yes.
for certificate of compliance.
And likely issue a,
And if you find that nothing has changed, then we'll proceed with an enforcement order?
Yep. I mean, I'd have to look at the regulations and in the order of conditions, but possibly you could issue the enforcement order to, you know, achieve the, you know, what hasn't been complied with or provided. You know, so the, you know, as
The
built.
outstanding items.
You're right.
okay,
I
that sounds.
I think we could do that. I'll double check.
Okay.
With kind of the ongoing enforcement, I've spoken with the former property owner at 122 Carlisle Road. Conservation posts will be installed in the upcoming weeks. I think they had some. 120 Main Street, the erosion controls are being installed for the relocation of the next item, the enforcement order in progress and monitoring. I'm just kind of rattling, I'm not going in order.
Oh, you're not going in order?
No, yeah, I'm
Okay.
jumping around kind of. So I haven't heard back from 43.
Let's get going.
I haven't heard back from 43 Cold Spring Road. I have not heard back from CSX Railways. I'm sure they'll be I had the thought today to reach out to them and tell them, hey, it's a new year and please don't not comply with your determination of applicability again. For 122 Carlisle Road, conservation posts are being installed in the upcoming weeks. 120 Main Street, erosion controls are being installed for the relocation of the.
Going back to the CSX railway right away, it's coming up on a full year. we haven't really done anything. I guess there isn't much interest in going along and verifying that they spray correctly and not in our waterways. So I guess maybe I'm not interested in doing that this year. Anybody else would like to?
It's hard to get rejected.
It's hard to get enthusiastic about it too.
Who's he talking about?
It is, it's just.
Going along with the railway.
That's what I figured it was the railway, I figured that was it.
I'd like to. I mean, if you're not, yeah.
Go for it.
I will let them know that I will be eagerly awaiting their compliance. 120 Main Street's installing erosion controls as they'll be moving pool equipment in the upcoming weeks. And 27 Tenney Road, now that the snow is melted, I should probably reach out to kind of start scheduling a site visit.
They're, just put their house for sale.
Did they?
Yep.
Oh.
Today. I'm not still looking at Zillow or anything, guys. But I was like, 120 or 27 Tenny. Didn't
That rings a bell.
I'll reach out. Okay. These discussion and action items, I don't really have any.
How are things with the request for proposals both for Hill Orchard and the Dayfield?
Progressing slowly.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think, in some ways, I think the Hill Orchard is the priority.
Probably, yeah.
Since Farmer Dave does not want to renew.
Yeah, or
I
did
didn't
not.
hear that.
Yeah, that
I
was
did not hear that.
a couple months ago. I remember
It's too bad.
Yeah, I think he's just focusing on his Drake property.
Times change.
Yes, maintaining an orchard is not as easy as it sounds.
Pest control. Pest control's a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
That's a new farm said so much, what do you call it? What's that poison stuff?
Arsenic.
Arsenic.
Yeah, minutes, I don't really have.
Freedom Park.
Yeah.
So we got the CPC
Yes.
approved, right?
Yep.
So what's the next step there?
So next step is I'm going to contact the fence viewer who's not on the Conservation Commission to kind of get some guidance as opposed to when fences either not just on the property line, but kind of start on one property and end on another. How do you go about kind of negotiating, if we want to relocate it solely onto the commission's property? Just like, again, I don't know. I think that's a good, at least start with the fence viewer to get their opinion on kind of how to,
Are we doing anything that retaining wall that was coming?
Well, the structures and
the structures and that's, kind of need to get somebody out to look at what the costs to, again, stabilize, or not stabilize, but kind of refurb, yeah. That would be on, the list.
How much did we get?
It was 100 with a match of, I think, 25. So the commission's matching 25,000, so it's 125,000 for the engineering department and kind of discussing. They have some plan details for kind of pathways so that there's, when we get a contract where there's a uniform or an expectation of,
Okay.
this is what you're doing. It's not, kind of Matt writing it up off the top of my head. It's, there's some kind of uniform standard as to what it's to be.
Speaking of the engineering department, have they done that smoke test yet?
I don't think so. We talked about it.
Because I think, the smoke test is probably going to be important because the walkways will be going in the same general area where there's potentially, there's a problem that in heavy rains, there's an area in the lawn where water has started bubbling up to the point where it creates, there's a hole I could put my boot
Nice.
into, And there was,
You would think it was sewage or something, right?
we
It
don't-
wasn't sewage.
I know it wasn't,
Yeah.
but somebody's.
Some,
But-
that was, right, yeah.
But it
that's-
was also bubbling up to the point that there was, the flow down to the pond was causing erosion. So.
And Matt, that has a dock, that place, in case that kid wants to put his thing.
Well, it's not, I don't actually,
I don't know if the other places have docks, but
I think the pier doesn't go far enough. I don't think the pier overhangs the water.
it goes into the water.
Yeah, because that's where they throw the reef.
Okay.
Oh, it
Maybe
goes
I've-
way into the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's another, you know.
Okay, but
We need to
yes, we need to be getting quotes.
Yep, start making progress.
That's why we also added the Neshoba Brook Conservation Area, because we also got approval for the footbridge engineering and design. And we want to get that.
That had a match, that was 15 with a match
Yes.
for 15.
So we want to get somebody looking at that.
Kind of start designing.
Yep.
So it's look fine to me.
Yeah, they look great.
So the February 25th?
There's only one.
No, there's two.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, both look fine.
Okay, so if nobody had any changes to the February 25th meeting, can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the February 25th, 2026 meeting?
So moving.
All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann? Yes. Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. For the March 11th, I did have three. At the top of page 2, where we were talking about the removal of trees along Forge Village Road, and that it wasn't viable to plant replacement trees, but there was some discussion of the utility making a donation if we had a tree fund. And I just wanted to make sure that that comment about the applicant offering to contribute to a replanting fund, and that Salem would follow up with DPW director on that option. Make sure that it's noted that the offer was made, and if we have such a fund, this might be a good way to get something added to it.
I'd like to make a motion to.
Well, no, this is, no,
It's
but
just
it was
in the minutes, yeah.
It was missing from the minutes.
Okay.
And then near the top of page 3, I corrected the approximate dimensions of the monument to be, instead of being 8 by 10, it's 13 by 9 by 7. And my last one was, near the bottom of page 2.
Come back.
Where the sentence begins, crews explained the only work within 30 feet of wetlands is removing pavement and doing plantings. I amended that last piece to say removing pavement, doing plantings, and grading associated with ADA accessibility for the wellness path that in places will disturb to the edge of wetlands. And I went back and I listened to the meeting recording, and that's what she said. And
Okay.
it's, and then remove the phrase at the end which says, which respects the local setbacks.
Okay.
Yeah, that it just,
We didn't need that. Okay.
well, it just, they've moved the path now, so it's no longer an issue, but I didn't want to lose fact of the site that they were ready to
Donate.
disturb that far just to get the grading on the, on the wellness path. So, those were my amended.
Okay,
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Eric?
Abstain,
Oh,
because I wasn't.
because you weren't here.
Yeah.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. Anything else before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
We recorded the site visits. I'll schedule the site visits for 130 Wilton Road. We'll be in touch.
Okay. And then, yeah, okay. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Lauren? Yes. And Margaret, yes.